I have always been a science believer.
So when did all change?
Everything in our life happens for a reason.
True, so much wisdom behind those words, and yet so humble. I am really impressed. I am sure that you have a spiritual side too. After all, we can talk for hours about the intensity of spiritual growth in your very first book, Break Them All.
Would you believe it if I say that I was an atheist at one stage?
No way. Is that really true? I would love to hear about that angle.
Actually, I have always been a science believer. There were some agnostic sparks, but my ideology was if you can't prove it, it just cannot happen.
So when did all change? Was there a monumental event or life-changing moment that caused this sudden shift for the better, I am assuming?
See, I think that everything in our life happens for a reason. So there's no room for regrets. It is never categorized as good or bad because all of it eventually evolves us into a better version of ourselves. And this change did that too. I consider myself at a higher frequency than I was before. Having said that, these verses you would hear from a believer and not an atheist. Before we jump into the event itself, there was this show I used to watch during my childhood called Dragonballz.
Yes, I know.
Most of its memories are gone, but there was this line that the protagonist from that show, Goku, said, "Sometimes life is too uncertain for regrets." I never forget that line and have implemented it in my life ever since.
I have seen that show many, many, many times. But I don't remember that line. When did he say that?
Remember, during the finale of the Cell games, a mentally broken Gohan doubts his ability to win, allowing Cell to push back his Kamehameha wave and gain the upper hand. From the afterlife, Goku telepathically intervenes to tell his son that life is too uncertain for regrets, urging him to stop worrying and trust his hidden potential to defeat Cell.
Yeah, I remember that was a very emotional moment. I remember that I cried when Gohan also cried and was shocked to know that Goku's sacrifice was in utter vain because Cell just wouldn't die.
Yeah, that show had a lot of levels, and that never giving up attitude when the stakes keep getting higher and the circumstances just gets worse and worse was a real motivational push that the 90s kids needed. I used to love that show.
So much so, I thought I wouldn't disclose this, but the books I used to write about superheroes and superpowers, they were inspired by the show.
Oh, wow.
I called that book The Two Superhero Brothers, and they also had ki blasts, even a replica of Kamehameha wave. I think I had seen the show till the Frieza saga when I came up with the fusion concept, but then realized that it was already introduced later, so not my discovery.
Oh my god, are you serious? The two brothers from your book do fusion? I will give you all of my life savings, just let me read your books from the past. Okay, jokes apart, I really want to hear about your transition. What made Rahul drift from a science geek to a believer of the higher power beyond our understanding of reality? Because let me tell you, whenever I read Break Them All, I always imagine the author to be some sort of a Buddhist monk living in Dharamshala.
You are partly right with that thought because the transition I had that led me to write this book. So this perception of thought can be shared with others and eventually a difference would be seen in the collective consciousness of humanity. I am just playing a small part in it. So let's roll back to 2017. I used to read a lot. I still do though, but the genres have changed big time. I was an expert dreams, sleep cycles, lucid dreaming, or everything else that is considered voodoo by the society. I said that figuratively, not literally. When I had my first lucid dream, that was the first taste I had in the divine pool. Such experiences changes a person. Like, I was an IT professional. And our job can be strenuous on health if we go too deep. And I have always been that sort of a person. Whatever I do, I go too deep.
Yeah, I know this is a major issue in most 9-to-5 jobs, just sitting in front of the laptop all day. That's why mental health has become this emerging
Change that everyone needs to start focusing on. And your book is like a therapeutic session in that terrain. Looks like you have faced those repercussions firsthand. Tell me about it.
So 2017 has been a very tough phase of my life. I recall that I had to work non-stop at that time. Those long sitting hours were weakening my core muscles. My hamstrings were getting tighter. And due to stringent deadlines, I couldn't spend any time at my mental health either. As a result, my lower back started to hurt.
Oh no.
One way out was physiotherapy, which I did. And the geek I am, I researched for a book on recovering from back pain.
Oh my God.
I focused on those exercises from the book diligently, like over an hour every day for I don't know how long. It did help, but all of that was frustrating in taking muscle relaxants and going for physiotherapy. So I decided it is probably time to look up for more books, but this time on the conspiracy side.
Oh God, I almost feel where this is going.
Stuff like Reiki, internal healing, although they were helping, unknowingly, I pivoted to another direction, came across this Buddhist monk who became a Lama after translating Tibetan text for over 40 years. That discovery on non-duality, on the union of science with spirituality changed everything.
Non-duality, I remember that part from Dr. Deepak, but I am sure he is not a monk. There's also a community under the name SANDY or Science and Non-Duality.